And we build on that construction story that we were on earlier. Arbitrations and adjudications are on the rise in the construction industry as companies face headwinds in the domestic market. In addition to market pressures, there's likely to be increased demand for trained adjudicators as a result of the implementation of the Construction Industry Development Board's proposed prompt payment regulations and adjudication standards for contracts. It introduces a mandatory reform of adjudication for the construction industry. Joining me now is Euan Massey, Director at MDA Consulting. Finally, Euan, you join us for that construction story. How does this affect the construction industry that's already ailing in terms of contracts?
Well, thanks, Motheo. At MDA Consulting, we're a firm of legal and commercial specialist practitioners, and we've seen over the past few years a dramatic rise in the number of disputes. And adjudication is a specific dispute resolution procedure which is used in construction contracts, and it requires that there be a number of trained adjudicators. And what's happened is that we're seeing this growth in the number of adjudications with a shortage of qualified adjudicators, which means that disputes are not being resolved at the first round of dispute resolution, but rather festering and going through to arbitration and through to court. And that in turn is frustrating cash flow within the construction industry, which is resulting in things like an increased number of liquidations and a number of contractors and subcontractors and suppliers really battling to stay afloat.
And doesn't that even cause even more disputes because of the drag out of payments and things like that? Then you find that the industry now is in a clog up in terms of the cases they have to handle.
Precisely, and what we're seeing allied to the increase in disputes and problems with cash flow is that there's limited work at the moment, and margins are tight, so people are looking to other avenues to maximize revenue, and that is just fostering the growth in disputes.
But of course, the cases also presents an opportunity for someone with the skill set to be part of the adjudicators. What exactly is needed in the industry, rather, and what capacity do we have in South African construction industry?
That's a good question, Motheo. We're currently using a lot of legal practitioners, so advocates, attorneys. There are a few consulting engineers and retired QSs that we use as adjudicators, but we've seen a bit of a gap in the market, and we've introduced a course in conjunction with the University of Pretoria to train people with an interest in construction disputes to become qualified adjudicators. It's a year-long course, and it's aimed at both legal practitioners and those with technical skills. It's a postgraduate course. It starts with 2 modules, one for legal practitioners, and it trains them in basic technical skills, and one for technical people, which trains them in basic legal skills. And then the 2 streams join later on and look at construction law-specific topics such as construction adjudication and arbitration.
It's a very complex industry as well, but what are some of the cases that are currently being dealt with?
Well, there are quite a few actually, Motheo, and the sort of big thing at the moment is the enforcement of the adjudicator's decision. And we see a number of cases going to court where the courts are saying that this adjudication process is required for the South African construction environment, and they're enforcing adjudicators' decisions as court orders. So that's a positive step. There are more technical challenges and things like that, but at the moment it's a good sign, although at the moment we still have a contractual system of adjudication where you can only have it if you agree to it in your contract.
And why hasn't the industry moved to a system where you go directly to court? Why is it drag on in terms of adjudication?
Well, there are 2 things, Motheo. The first is the speed at which the dispute has to be resolved. So adjudication is a very quick process. By comparison, it takes approximately 6 weeks to 3 months to resolve a dispute. And also, the technical skills required to decide a dispute in a construction contract are usually a different skill set to somebody who's strictly legally trained. So we look at people who are familiar with the industry, have technical skills and commercial skills, and basically are there to try and provide the best fit dispute resolution process for that particular dispute.
And just quickly, can one move from any other industry to try and get into adjudication and learning the skill?
I think you can. It might take a bit of time, but I think there are opportunities to do that.
All right then, thank you very much. That was Euan Massey, Director of MDA Consulting. The Bank of